After nearly 20-year news career, about 13 in TV news and about half that as a main evening news anchor in Ohio and then California, I now find myself a corporate-controlled media fugitive. I'm Christy Lee, and here's my story. I grew up in Northwest Ohio, a shy and pretty sheltered homeschooled kid. Well, not shy at home, of course. I was the annoying kid asking so many questions. My parents began calling me their little reporter. I recalled this nickname when asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. Intrigued by getting to ask more questions and in admiration of my theatrical dad, I majored in broadcast journalism with a goal to sit at the anchor desk with our hometown news legend.
To call the man behind the Reform Party movement. Ross Perot takes your calls and questions live next, first at 5.
A big goal for a former shy and sheltered kid. Well, I excelled in college, earning journalism awards, even taking a year off to earn licenses in the family financial business to essentially become an investment advisor rep or stockbroker. There was plenty of failures and discouragements along the way, battling nerves and, of course, my underlying shyness, the first of many of those hurdles.
You have any questions about the parking regulations at this point, just call the Division of Street, Bridges, and Harbor for clarification.
I started as a one-man band, writing, shooting, editing my stories all on my own, moved up the ladder through working at every news affiliate in town, and after having 3 kids in the process and enduring a very painful divorce, God's grace blessed me with my childhood dream job, anchoring the evening news on the station I grew up watching, next to local celebrity Jerry Anderson.
Apparently that's an issue, and tonight former workers are sounding off.
I had so many great experiences, worked with and learned from so many great journalists, got to tell some amazing stories, won more awards, but I started noticing a shift. The news industry as a whole was becoming more influenced and driven by social media. Advertising money was a struggle to come by, which influenced some editorial decisions, as well as a bigger push to do more with less. Many of our reporters were getting burnt out, having to shoot and edit their own stories, sometimes multiple a day, while posting content to web and social media. Intentions seemed good, but it was becoming a concern to me that the necessary time to research, dig deeper, and find all angles just wasn't there. March 8th, 2019. That was a day at the anchor desk I'll never forget. We had breaking news at the top of our show. A major car accident had traffic even more backed up on the expressway. It was a day one of even more construction that would narrow traffic at 475 and 75. My mom was texting me, and I was feeling annoyed at this point. Doesn't she know I'm live on the show at this hour? She was trying to get more information on the accident. Well, it turns out it was my brother who slammed into the back of a semi-truck when traffic came to a sudden stop. His daughter in the passenger seat. He spent his last breaths calming her down while a retired former deputy held his hand from the outside of his car and prayed with him. He didn't make it, but my niece did, with barely a scratch. I can't help but think her dad, my brother, had a hand in her protection.
I want to take a moment to thank my work family here at WTOL and WUPW, and each and every one of you for the kindness and compassion you've shown me and my family during the great loss of my brother in a car accident I reported just a week ago to the day. My siblings and I grew up here. This community is our memories. It is our family, and we've all lost a great, kind man. I don't want you to know him as Christy Lee's brother. I have been lucky to be Matt Foreman's little sister, and we will be reunited someday in heaven. I know many of you have suffered great losses like this as well, and now I grieve with you.
October 2019, I decided it was time to move on. I'd spent my whole career in the same market. I had to see what it was like outside my hometown. Never mind, taking the same route to work where my brother lost his life was extremely difficult. And God, in his unending grace, opened a door. He had more to show me. A California news station in the Central Valley gave me a very generous offer and moved me across the country. A new adventure. But I got more than I bargained for. Pretty much as soon as I arrived, everything shut down. I spent the next year in a new place, homeschooling my 3 kids, in a long-distance relationship, and reporting what felt like nonstop about pandemic and politics. The news sent down from nationals started becoming unrecognizable to how I was taught journalism was supposed to be. And it only got worse. Scripts full of adjectives, no sources given, an arrogant approach to journalism that we are to be the arbiter of truth, the gateway, rather than just deliver the news with sources and respect our audience enough to evaluate for themselves. I observed some former colleagues and even some new ones cheering on the selective censorship of voices rather than be a voice for the voiceless. I observed unapologetic promotion of political ideals from those who were supposed to remain neutral. Consensus now means truth in this new approach. Fierce defense of the rich and powerful is the new name of the game, as opposed to holding them accountable and examining motives and conflicts of interest. Narrative news has taken over one of the most beautiful things about journalism, the thing that led me down this road as a child: curiosity and always asking a lot of questions. I spent months wrestling with what to do. I had 3 kids to support, but I wasn't feeling good about what I was doing anymore. As a news anchor introducing national stories that lacked journalistic integrity, I felt complicit in the division and confusion we were all feeling. I prayed about what to do, and God answered in an unlikely way. I got a Zoom call one day with HR on the line informing me I was one of hundreds being laid off across the country. It became the catalyst in what I knew needed to be done. I had to break the chains of corporate-controlled media and embrace what freedom I could find through going independent. I hope to balance the one-sided news narrative, hold those in power accountable, be a voice for the voiceless, and keep asking questions. I hope you do the same, and I thank you for your support.